2, 3, 4. I gave you all I had to give, and I done the best I can. So now it's up to you to finish what I began. Yes, I will always love you, and I'll be there just for you. So in all that you do, my child, to yourself you must be true. So promise me that you will fight for what it is that you believe. No matter what you do in life, it's in the giving that you'll receive. Wherever the road may take you, those you meet along the way, promise me that you will count your blessings every day.
And a very good night or a very good day to you whenever you happen to catch this. Jason Hawes back again doing a podcast on American Faith today here on the Spreaker network, although many of you probably wind up listening to it once it gets uploaded on SoundCloud due to some Facebook compatibility issues that were there in the past anyway. I don't know if they're still there, but anyway, glad to be back, glad to be here. Rather rare instances and occasions, unfortunately, for me to be doing these, and I would like to do them again more frequently. Ideally, getting back to doing a show once a week, but we'll see how everything pans out. But it is good to be back nonetheless. And I am going to be switching gears here a little bit after doing a study, a series of studies on the book of Daniel, which I very slowly, but surely but slowly made my way through and finally did finish up recently. I'm going to be turning back towards more of the governmental or political side for this particular podcast and for this particular episode. And, you know, I don't know if it will be interesting to you when I say how exactly I've been coming up with my topics here, but I do kind of look at my social media or Facebook news feed and see what some people are talking about, discussing, and try to come up with a show topic off of that. And since I started the series of Daniel so long ago, like I said, I know, and I'm sorry, and those of you who listened to it and enjoyed it, especially if you caught every episode, bravo, and thank you very much for that. They are still archived, by the way, and you should be able to go back and check out some of the past ones, but I don't even remember why exactly I decided to do a series, a Bible study on the book of Daniel, but I did. But with this, I'm turning now to, I guess, an aspect of the deep state, if you want to call it that, even though I get kind of bothered. I guess I'm easily bothered these days by certain things that I hear or that I see online that are just repeated ad nauseum over and over again, whether it's fake news or the deep state, or during the election season and even after the election season, everybody calling Hillary Clinton, who of course is an abominable monster, but calling her Hillary or whatever, just people repeating things over and over again to where they almost lose not necessarily all meaning, but in which people are just trying to fit in, basically, or to look cool online, or to be part of the cool, I don't even know, the cool conservative clique, or the cool alt-right clique, or the cool Trump followers, Trump fanatics clique, or what have you. And people use the word and the phrase deep state over and over again, and I don't know if even they know exactly what it is or what they're talking about, although, I do respect the concern that people have with the thought of our intelligence, elements of our intelligence agencies becoming politicized, or with rogue elements of our intelligence, kind of in play or influencing the country and the government And one of the things that certainly in, I don't know if you want to call it my studies, my research, what have you, over the years, that an intelligence agency that I have become quite skeptical of, if not, I don't want to say fearful of, but because that's an emotion that I certainly try not to have, particularly knowing that regardless, God is in control, and if you try to stay and do stay within His will and keep your eyes on Him and do your best to serve Him and to remain true to Him and have faith in Him, then you're going to come out just fine, regardless of what's going on in the world and in the country at large. But certainly the CIA has been an agency that I suppose in my younger days, in this country, I think most, if not all of us, want to believe, especially in our younger years, want to believe that our government, our politicians can be trusted, that our intelligence agencies, whether it's the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, that they're there to protect us, that they're there to watch over us from nefarious foreign forces and foreign influences and rogue dictators from foreign countries and radical Islamic terrorists and what have you. But eventually, in my case anyway, I've come to realize that, and I think in this day and age, and again it does go back to, I suppose, what people are saying about the deep state, you come to realize that you can stay in that safe space, if you will, to use kind of not to perfectly use a term of today, but to stay in that safe space and just naively believe that everything is okay with our government and with our intelligence agencies. Or you can take a look at what's going on, put two and two together, use the brain that God gave you, and try to use a little bit of critical thinking and discernment to come to the conclusion that while God is still in control, that no, not everything is okay with our government. And no, not everything is okay with our intelligence agencies, and the CIA in particular. And, I especially, again, in my case, I was never one of those guys. Of course, in my younger days, I really wasn't very politically inclined at all. I was just kind of your average, everyday, sports nut teenager. And in the last 8 to 10 years is when I've really become much more aware and much more concerned and much more trying to inform myself in the political and world event sense. But, I can recall even not all that long ago when somebody who I respected, who I regarded as an intelligent, articulate individual would say things like, the CIA is in Afghanistan and even the U.S. military is in Afghanistan raiding the poppy fields over there so that they can smuggle heroin back into the United States. Well, I kind of rolled my eyes at that, even though it was a conversation that took place online, so nobody could see me rolling my eyes on that. But again, events and things that are going on in this world kind of makes you rethink some things and reinvestigate some things. And at the same time, one of the things that I never want to do is go too far and go off into Alex Jones territory, which, Alex Jones, I'm not going to totally bash him, even though maybe I just did, but he leads people kind of, in a lot of cases, to the general vicinity of the truth. But if you can imagine, if I can make an analogy here, and if you can imagine a road of truth, and we're skipping down that road of truth. Oh, look, there's a little lamb. Oh, there's a lion that just ate the lamb on the road of truth. Oh, that's not so good. But anyway, okay, that's totally getting off the point. But No, we're traveling down our road of truth, and we see landmarks, and those landmarks representing evidence, all kind of leading us to the central truth, and Alex Jones will take you down that road. But then once you get to that, many times once you get to that central point of truth, he veers way off into a side direction or zooms right past it, way off into the boonies, to where you're now in some area where basically nothing makes sense, where you're in your own reality, and that's basically, in my opinion, what Alex Jones does. But and people like him, and so we can't go after every conspiracy theory and just say that they're true or present them as true or possibly true. But we do investigate, and what I'm trying to do here is investigate the evidence, investigate the claims, and again, like I said, use the brain that God gave me, use the brain that God gave us to come to a conclusion. And my conclusion at this point on the CIA, and this is actually going to be the title of the show, loose title of this episode, the CIA 70 Years of Corruption, Chaos, and Crime. And with that said, I'm going to try to bring to the forefront how exactly I've come to that conclusion or that theory. And we're just going to take a little stroll back through history here on this show, and also ending up, hopefully, if time allows, in the present day, and cover as much as time will allow, and go from there. Now, the CIA, like I said, 70 years. 70 years of chaos, corruption, and crime, or crime, corruption, and chaos, or however I decide to order it here once I title this thing. But the CIA was an organization in this country. Our first kind of pre-CIA was established by FDR in 1942. And it was actually an organization called the OSS. And the OSS, FDR actually backing up in 1941, he created the Office of Coordinator of Information, COI. And that was kind of, it was a brand new intelligence service. And then he morphed that, restructured that 1 year later into something more suitable for covert action rather than just collecting intelligence, and that was the Office of Strategic Services. Again, created by FDR. In 1945, which was, of course, the end of World War II, the Office of Strategic Services was abolished. And at that point, the remaining American information agencies allegedly stopped doing covert actions, activities, missions, and returned to supposedly harmless information gathering and analysis. Now, immediately after the conclusion of World War II, many of you are probably familiar with Operation Paperclip. Some of you perhaps not. Operation Paperclip was an operation by our intelligence, by our military, by our government, in which we hunted down Nazi war criminals, not to arrest them, even though there were some American agencies that were trying to do that, but the U.S. intelligence community went after these people to recruit them and actually smuggled them into the country for use against the Soviet Union in the Cold War. And we wanted them, the Soviet Union wanted them. The Nazis, of course, were militarily and scientifically well ahead of their time. And you can call it divine intervention, you can call it God's blessings, you can call it whatever you will, but just based on pure military might and, like I said, strategy, technology, equipment, what have you, the Nazis probably, and the Axis powers probably should have won that war. Fortunately, of course, they did not. But these people, of course, that were kind of the central figures and the scientific and military community of the Nazi regime were